Hey everyone, here Dr. Mark Supernaut in Charlotte, North Carolina. Change of locations, change of internet. Internet went down at the office after about 15 minutes of this class. So here we go, take two. Probably going to go quicker, should be sharper. I just went through it. So hope you guys are having a great and blessed day. It's been a challenge. 2 hours later, we're finally getting this thing off and going. Hopefully this helps. The reason why I put this class up, and last week, about a week and a half ago, I said, listen, there are so many people that keep asking the question, can chiropractic help my friend? Can it help my brother with blank? Can it help my sister with blank? Can it help my niece with blah, blah, blah. We hear this all the time. And so I said, listen, let's put a bull at the front. Let's find out what people want to hear, what they want to know. And I'm going to just put together a class, a short class, a webinar that they can hand this webinar link off to their friends, show them, refer them, tag them in the video, share it with people, as many as you possibly want. If they're outside of Charlotte, I'll help you guys find a great chiropractor. I know a lot of chiropractors in this country and outside the country even. If they're here in Charlotte, one of the best ways is bring them to the office, or at the end, I'm going to give you an opportunity to be able to bring them to our dinner, which is on July 15th. So with all that said, let's get started. My name is Dr. Mark Supernaut with Charlotte, North Carolina with Family Healing Chiropractic. And this question, I love it so much. And the answers we got when I asked people and they put it in the fishbowl at the front, they said, hey, I want to know about blank that has headaches, blank that has back pain, sciatic problems, seizures, sleep apnea, ADHD, ADD, sinus issues, fatigue, allergies, high blood pressure, lupus, immune system, digestive issues, heart problems, thyroid issues, ovarian cancer, foot pain, neck pain. Also saw some people with hormone issues, painful periods, and also had questions about people with Alzheimer's or Parkinson's and dementia. I think they're asking for Joe Biden. Just kidding. So hopefully this lands with you guys. Again, those symptoms that if I had a chance to talk to every single person that put that in the fishbowl, my number one answer would be, yes, I can help your sister with this. Yes, I can help your kid that has seizures. Yes, I can help your uncle that has sleep apnea. But this is my end. I can help them, but my only way to know if I can help them is to find out what's going on within their nerve system. If their nerve system is working properly, then I can't help them. But if their nerve system has a functional issue or a problem with it, then that's what we do. So what do the symptoms really tell us? And this is so good. My in chiropractic school, which was 25 years ago, one of the most fascinating things was that there was 4 diagnosis teachers for our class. And our class is that big that we had 4 diagnosis teachers that if you got these 2 diagnosis teachers, you wouldn't have to study that much more for boards, because these 2 diagnosis teachers taught by the medical books. Understanding, and this is what that means, is that in chiropractic, really on a day-to-day basis, I'm not really diagnosing people with cancer or heart disease or diabetes or brain tumors and stuff like that. That's not what I do. Like, those diagnoses are medical diagnoses. And because of insurance, because of medical boards, chiropractic boards, state boards, we're kind of tied into this whole thing of having to know, and which is not a bad idea for how the body works, but the diagnosis is a medical condition. And so I got the teacher that if you were going to have to study a ton more for boards. The crazy thing about the teacher I got was that it's probably the best teacher I ever had in my life. And the reason why is because he would say this. He said, listen, he goes, I'm going to teach you how to think for yourself. I'm going to teach you how to understand, how to ask the right questions for yourself, to understand better about how the body actually works from the inside out. And so he said, when you have symptoms and any of the symptoms you have, he goes, listen, you guys, you got to ask the question of why is this happening? The symptoms are warning signals. You have a bigger problem underneath. The symptoms are not the problem. The symptoms are the warning signals. And so things like headaches and mental problems, high blood pressure, depression, anxiety, food problems, digestive issues, sleep problems, eczema, skin conditions, attention, focus, depression, anxiety, frequent colds, energy issues. These are all warning signals that adults get. And in the medical industrial complex, we've been taught that when you have these symptoms, the symptoms are the problem. Even though they are annoying, they are not the problem. They are a warning signal. And for kids, the warning signs are things like pain. Kids shouldn't be in constant pain, or any pain really. restricted motion, abnormal posture, scoliosis for kids, poor balance, fatigue, chronic ear infections, chronic colds and sicknesses. This means that the body's not working, the body's breaking down, hyperactivity, asthma, allergies, which is what I had growing up. These are the type of things that happen on a regular basis. Bedwetting, constipation, digestive issues. Like for babies, the question I always ask, are they eating? Are they pooping? And are they sleeping? Those are my best ways without somebody that can talk to find out a little bit more about how the function of somebody's body. And if they have these issues, that means it's a warning signal. And you guys know this, like if any of these showed up on your dashboard on your car, you're going to go, some people's blood pressure is going to go a little bit higher because you're going to be like, what the heck is going on here? The reality with this is that those things, as they show up, whether it's the gas button, the check engine light, the oil light, the flat tire light, and like none of us wants to see those things show up. But those lights are not the problem. Those lights are the warning signal trying to let your body know that there's a deeper issue, something else. Whatever's the real issue, the root cause of the issue is actually triggering that light to come on, which is the symptom. And if you took a piece of black tape and put it over top of that oil light, or put it over top of that gas light, or put it over top of the check engine light or the battery light, if you did that and put black tape over it, you would no longer see the symptom, no longer see the warning signal. But what's going to happen is it's going to be a very costly mistake because your engine's going to blow, your tires are going to blow, you're going to have a massive wreck, your engine's going to overheat. Whatever the reason is, whatever's going to happen, it's going to happen. And so when that happens, what now happens is you've got a more expensive problem in your hand because you ignored the warning signals. Does that sound familiar? That's what's wrong with our medical industrial complex. That's what's wrong with the healthcare. I call it healthcare because it's not healthcare, it's sick care. That's what's happening in our country right now. That's the biggest issue, is that you get a symptom, you get one of these symptoms, one of these problems, your kids get that. And what we do is first we ignore it. Then we WebMD it and we think we're dying. And then we take them to the doctor and they give us a pill or drug or shot or surgery that covers up these symptoms, but never addresses to the core cause of what's really going on in the inside. So in order to understand why these symptoms or how these symptoms start to come up, you start to understand how does the body actually work. And you look at the nerve system and you look at all the organs, cells, and tissues in the body. You look at the complexity of how God designed us. I've said this probably millions of times, and I'm still amazingly overwhelmed by how fascinating the human body really is and how intricate the pieces are and how probably so much little that we actually know about the human body. There's so much more to be learned, obviously. But what we do know and what we can take away from this diagram here is that all those organs, cells, and tissues, there's one organ that controls all functions of the rest of the body. And the organ that controls everything, you guys know it, it's the brain. The brain is what creates the energy, the intelligence, the inborn intelligence, innate intelligence, what we call it in chiropractic. That inborn intelligence is what keeps us alive. How do we know this is true? Well, the French used this research article or this research project years ago in medieval times. And the research project was this, called a guillotine. And that they found that when they cut somebody's heads off, separated the brain from the body, that the body would actually no longer live. And so they found that life ceased to exist when you disconnect the brain from the body. The brain this is where life is. Life is up here inside your brain. And it has to stay connected. Now, in your body, how it stays connected is you have millions and millions of neurons and nerves up here that start in your brain, but they come together, a good portion of them come together and they form your spinal cord. So you have these bundles of wires or bundles of nerves that come from your brain that go down through your spinal cord and then go out in between each vertebra in your spine, go out the nerves to all the organs, cells, and tissues to control the functions of the human body. And so what ends up happening is that if the nerves are completely communicating, the brain sends life and energy and messages down through the spinal cord to tell the organs, cells, and tissues how to work. Now, the fascinating thing about that is only 7% of all the nerves in your body feel pain, actually feel it. The other 93% are for function. So most of your nerve system is all about telling your body how to coordinate, how to adapt, and how to work, how the organs are supposed to work. Then the body, the organs, cells, and tissues in here send messages back up to the brain to tell the brain what's right, what's wrong, and what needs help. So if I take all the nerves on this chart here that are going to your heart and I cut all the nerves to your heart, what's going to happen to your heart? Your heart's going to die. If I cut the nerves that are going to your leg's going to die. If I cut the nerves to your left arm's going to completely die. We don't see cut nerves, but what we see are stressed, choked, or pinched nerves. And when you have a stressed, choked, or pinched nerve, and I'll show you what that looks like. This is the top one is the normal one where you see the disc space, you see the vertebra that are inside there, you see how you see the disc spaces in between here. Here's the bone in here, and it's a ring of bone that actually has a foramen or a hole down through the middle that the spinal cord is able to go down through. That's throughout your whole spine. And you have these movable vertebrae that allow us to move. And then the holes right here, this is where the nerves come out. And when the spine misaligns or is subluxated, what happens is the nerves become choked or pinched off. And I know that it seems kind of crazy that you think that like it's the bone on the nerve. It's not like that. There's thousands and thousands of nerves that are inside that nerve bundle there. And those, it's surrounded by fat tissue and connective tissue and fascia and all this stuff trying to protect it. And what ends up happening is that when there's a misalignment in there, it puts stress into the area, which actually changes the chemistry of that joint. And when the chemistry is affected, then it starts to affect how the brain's able to communicate through that nerve. And if it's not at 100%, then the body can't do what it's supposed to do. It's kind of like if that nerve right there is kind of like a guitar string. I've got a guitar over here. I'm not going to pick it up right now because I can't play. That's for my daughter, my oldest daughter. Elle plays that. But if that nerve and if that cord or that string, guitar string over there, if I take that guitar string and I tighten it too much and pluck it, it's going to make a bad sound. But if I loosen it too much and pluck it, it's going to make a bad sound. But if I tune it just right, it's going to get the right tone. And so really what we're looking for, as you can see on the top picture right here, this normal, that's the right tone. And when you have the right tone, now the brain can communicate exactly how it's supposed to down into the organ cells and tissues and allow the functions to work properly. On the bottom one, that's when we start to have what they call nerve impingement syndrome, or subluxation is what we call it in chiropractic. So let me go back up. So when you have that stress or that pressure on the nerve system, now that starts to disrupt your body. Now, right away, you would think on this chart right here, you would think, hey, look, if I start to lose function, if I'm not at 100%, so on this function chart here, over here is 0%. At 0% function, you know what's wrong with you? You're dead, okay? At 100% function, though, you're alive, you're vibrant, your body's healing, it's adapting, it's doing exactly what it's supposed to do, how it's supposed to do, when it's supposed to do it, it's working how it's working exactly how it's supposed to do it. Now, does that mean you're going to live forever? Nope, none of us are going to live forever, but it gives you the best fighting chance right now for your body to be able to adapt to its environment around it. As you start to lose function, though, and that's what happens when you have the nerve impingement or you have the stress and pressure on the brainstem, spinal cord, of the nerve system. If it disrupts the tone of the messages from your brain to your body, that disruption of tone is now going to start to affect or cause damage to whatever cells and tissues that nerve's trying to go to. So if the nerve's trying to go to the heart, if I pinch the nerves that are going to the heart, it's going to be the wrong tone. And so it's going to start to wear the heart out faster. Now, it's not going to kill it right away, but what it's going to do is going to cause stress or damage to the heart. And over time, cumulatively, it'll start to pile up and pile on. Same thing if it's the nerves to the thyroid, the nerves to the pancreas, to the gallbladder duct. I had a conversation with a patient this morning about that. To the menstrual cycle, to the neck muscles, the nerves. But what happens is over time, then finally when you hit about 60% function, this is finally when a symptom will show up. And so maybe it's 70% for you, maybe it's 50% for somebody else, maybe it's 49%, I don't know. But at some point in time, as you start to lose the function, see, I had a mechanic tell me this, is that oil light doesn't come on when you lose 1 ounce of oil, or if you lose 10% of the efficiency. He goes, you have to lose about 75% of the efficiency before the light comes on. And the light comes on very late in the process for a reason, because if it came on right when you start to lose function, you would have lights going off constantly all the time. These lights are there. Like if you lost a gallon of gas and the gas light came on, you would start to ignore it all the time. It's only there when it gets to a certain level. And so, but if you ignore it, then it keeps causing more problems or bigger issues down the road. So as you lose dysfunction, then finally it hits a symptomatic standpoint. And then, of course, in America, when we have symptoms bad enough, the American approach is to, what do? We want a quick fix. We want our insurance to dictate, what we can do. Oh, well, the insurance won't pay for that, so I'm not going to go do that. Well, the insurance is not going to pay for me to go to a health food store, so why would I buy healthy food? The insurance company is not going to pay for me to go to the chiropractor, so why would I go to the chiropractor? Well, the insurance company is going to pay for me to go to the chiropractor, but it's only going to pay for me to get heat and ice on here and get the roller table and get a few adjustments, and that's it. And then I'm going to. So if you want to just avoid pain, which is the American approach to this, then you're going to end up like everybody else ends up, which means that, 1 in 2 die of heart disease, 1 of 3 die of cancer. The numbers are just astronomical, especially here in America, when people don't know how to take care of themselves. And they've just basically put the trust and faith in the medical industrial complex and the medical doctors, the insurance companies, the pharmaceutical industries. And now the government has their hand all mixed up in this, because when there's money, right? And so what ends up happening is you get the worst. Our country, of the industrialized nations, of the 37 richest countries on the planet, we are number 37 when it comes to health, because we do not have a healthcare system. We have a disease sickness care system that is all based on wait until you get the symptom and then come in and cover up these warning signs, obviously, as it goes along the way. So back to the question. We keep asking, right? Can chiropractic help my friend that has this? So I put these in batches for you guys so we can kind of narrow this down. So let's start with aches and pains, because that's probably one of the more common things that people equate to chiropractic. Now, when chiropractic started years ago, over 125 years ago, and more. And so what happened is, when chiropractic started, it wasn't based on symptomatic relief. It was more based on, let's get the tone of your nervous system working properly so your body can experience and express life to its fullest. Which means that if your heart, your lungs, your liver, your kidney, your thyroid are expressing life to its fullest, then you have the best shot to live a long and healthy life, right? So, but at the 80s, 70s, 80s, 90s, insurances came in and said, hey, we'll start paying for some of these medical procedures. But then what ended up happening is it ruined chiropractic to think people had to have a diagnosis or a symptom. So people that before that really got adjusted because they wanted for prevention. And some of them went because they had problems. They weren't getting help at doctor's offices. And so, but then what ended up happening is it turned into this whole thing where insurances started paying for some chiropractic care for aches and pains. So now people relate this to neck pain and back pain. And so what happens is, in the area of the nerve system, when you start to look at, and it makes sense that if you had pinched nerves in your neck, like the guy that came in today that had this excruciating neck pain, he thinks he has a pinched nerve. Well, of course, it makes sense why you would think that, because the nerves in here just aren't working properly. Or if you had back pain, or if you had sciatic nerve problem down the leg, that would make sense why you would kind of make that connection between, hey, look, aches and pains. But see, when somebody comes in like that, the guy today, he didn't want to hear anything else because he's in such bad pain, and I feel for him. But what I'm more concerned about him, instead, this pain that he has on the side of his neck here, it's been there for 12 years. And I'm not worried about the neck pain. I want to get him out of it. Don't get me wrong. I'm not mean. Okay. But what I want to do is I want to help him figure out, okay, let's fix the root cause of this, so that if we take the pressure off the nerve system, now not only is the neck pain going to heal, but everywhere else the nerves go to. And he started looking at the nerve chart. And he's like, you mean this is affecting my thyroid, my heart, my lungs? It could affect my throat, my acid reflux. It can affect all these other things. I'm like, yeah, not only can it affect that, it is affecting that. Because the symptoms show up really late in the process. I know it's affecting those other problems. So, but the reality is that if you go to a medical doctor, they're just going to give you what? A pill and a drug. And even if they can alleviate the muscles or the pain there, you still have the pressure on the nerve that's disrupting the tone or the right message getting from your brain down into your body. So I'm going to give you guys some examples. And again, it wasn't about low back pain for Latarsha. When Latarsha came in, it was about low back pain for her, because that's why I originally brought her in 13 years ago. But here's what happened is that when she started seeing the nerve system and understanding, she's like, oh my gosh, you mean that this low back pain, the areas of the pressure on the nerve system that was in her low back, she goes, you mean this is also probably affecting, she had menstrual cycle issues. She goes, you think it's also affecting those things? And I'm like, Well, of course, because if the nerves are choked and pinched down here, those nerves that you feel are back pain, but the nerves that you don't feel are for function. And so as we started adjusting, you can go through this, read this, pause it, and talk about like how it turned her health back around in her life. She started thinking differently, understanding life differently when you start to go through this. Glenda Gordon that came in recently, I've got a little bit more of her story a little bit later in a different section here, but she's like, no more hip pain. It's amazing, and I didn't adjust her. See, when she came in with hip pain, limping with a cane, I said, listen, Glenda, my job is not to fix your limp. My job is not to fix your hip pain. My job is to find out, and we did an exam and x-rays and did all this checkup on her. We found that there was a ton of stress in her nerve system down her lower back and the nerves that go especially into the hips. And so I said, my job is to release the pressure so your body can actually go through its own healing. And she's just like, man, no more hip pain. Amazing. Last week, she resumed volunteering at her church. I spend most of her time standing. She says, usually I take over-the-counter pain pills for severe hip pain in the morning before I volunteer. She goes, but I forgot to that morning. And then I realized 3 hours later that I'd been standing this whole time and it hadn't been hurting. So again, more to her story later. Now, again, what did I do? I didn't heal the low back pain. I didn't heal the hip problems. What I did is I restored function to the nerve system, and the body was able to start to go through its process. Same thing, Cynthia Gonzalez, ex-military. Here's this girl that has she had excellent service in her office, but it says she had struggled with mid-low back pain and shoulder pain. Well, shoulder pain's gone, and I feel so much more energy. It's fascinating when people start to get adjustments. Not only do their aches and pains start to go away, but we start to see is that their energy comes back, because remember, if the body's functioning better, think about this. If you put really the lowest quality gas in your gas tank in your car, it's going to be sluggish. But if you put the highest quality in it, it's going to work the best it possibly can. So I'm not just talking food here. I'm talking the function of the nerve system. If you have really good functioning nerve system, it works more efficiently. It's able to focus more energy. You're able to sleep better and heal faster and have more energy throughout a whole day. Fabrizio. And so sciatic nerve problem. Think about this, is stress the nerve down through the leg. There was stress and pressure. Now you would feel it in the leg, feel it in the knee, feel it in the hip. But what ends up happening is that if you chase the symptoms and gave them pain medicines and muscle relaxers, the problem's just going to keep getting worse. And there's going to be deeper issues because the nerves that go to the sciatic nerve are from the low back. This could affect prostate, male organ, male performance. It could affect digestive system. It affects other things in here. And so if we don't get to the root cause of this and start adjusting Fabrizio, when we started adjusting him, yes, the sciatic nerve pain went away, but we made sure we kept getting checked. And since then, his wife's gotten checked, or his wife's been a patient in our office. Actually, I think she was there before he was. And then they had a daughter and then had a son. And I actually had the privilege of going over to adjusting mom and son right after, and daughter and dad, right after the birth of the son. And so it was great to be able to get a chance. Still remember, it was a rainy day, and I went over to their townhome and got a chance to adjust them all shortly after the babies were born. So musculoskeletal makes sense, right? That's your body trying to scream at you, tell you have issues. Now, system and organ function is a whole nother story, okay? This is things like you might feel tired. You might feel like you don't have a lot of energy. It might have hormone issues. You might just get lethargic throughout the day. There's something going on there that your body's just not working the way that it's supposed to. Something's shutting down, or maybe it's not shutting down. It's just slowly starting to go downhill. It's like if I have the lights in here on a dimmer switch and I dim it down to 50%, but I do it over the course of 20 or 30 or 40 years, you're going to think we're sitting in the same light, but it's not the same. This is what starts to happen to the body, is that when the body starts to lose its function, what ends up happening is that you just don't feel the same. Now, you might feel the same as yesterday, and yesterday you might feel the same as the day before, because it's such small, gradual downgrading. But what ends up happening is then eventually you get into this medical model where you start to have things start to give out on you. And so I love checking this stuff way before. I love getting adjusted way before you start to have the symptoms, because we want to make sure the body's working it. So one of the good tests for system organ issues, if you have things like headache issues or sinus or allergy problems, or you have issues like digestive issues and cholesterol issues and high blood pressure. These are the type of things that we start to see. So when Lincel came in, she came in with headaches. And again, she thought, hey, I'm coming to the chiropractor for headaches. But then when she saw her x-ray, she's like, oh my gosh, I'm not coming to the chiropractor for headaches. Headaches are my warning signal. And all I've been taught by every doctor I've been to this point is try this drug, try this drug, try this drug, try drinking more water. Maybe you need to eat this. Maybe you have allergic to this. That's the process. And so Linsell comes to our office, and of course you can see and read this here. She's like, hey, look, I got my nerve system checked, and guess what happened? I had a nerve system issue. She had a nerve system issue that the numbness was starting to get better in her body. Not only did the headaches go away, but the numbness started getting better. Other things started healing. That's the amazing thing when we start to address the nerve system for what it is that we start to see when people have headaches, they come in, they think that's the biggest thing because that symptom they come in for is the thing that's affecting their day-to-day life. It might affect how they're able to look at a computer, or it might affect how they're able to interact with their kids or their spouse or whatever it is. So they think that's their highest point, their highest thing. But then we start adjusting somebody, and then they start to say, oh my God, I'm sleeping better. Oh my God, I have more energy throughout the whole day. Oh my gosh, I can focus better. Like these things start to happen because it's all connected through the nerve system. Diana comes in, digestive issues, not even just only for her, but also for her daughter. Like her daughter, her toddler had digestive issues, couldn't go to the bathroom. We started adjusting, and she starts going to the bathroom on a regular basis again. And so one cool thing about Diana is that we adjusted her through the pregnancy of the first child and adjusted the baby. And then they ended up having a second child. We adjusted through the pregnancy there too. Same thing. Again, how do we restore digestive function? As people ask me, can you help digestive issues? Well, we have tons of testimonials about digestive problems. And the reason why is because whether it's acid reflux, whether it's Crohn's disease, whether it's diarrhea, whether it's constipation, whatever it is, colitis. I mean, these are things. Don't remember symptoms. These symptoms are medical diagnosis. What they are, they're medically diagnosed. The medical diagnosis is there so that way they can treat the medical diagnosis or treat the warning sign. They want to treat the digestive issues. They want to treat the low back pain. They want to treat the headaches. I don't want to treat the symptoms. I want to treat why is the body able to heal from these things. Cholesterol, Katie, this is another one. Cholesterol, you guys saw Glenda's story about her hip in church the other day, or a little bit earlier. Glenda had the same story. Last week I poured, I've got a video of her pouring her actually overactive thyroid for her. And then I had another lady that came in shortly afterwards, got rid of all her cholesterol medication. And here's Katie a few years ago, a young lady in her 20s, diagnosed with cholesterol issues. And she thought she's going to be on her cholesterol medications for the rest of her life. Imagine the side effects. Go Google if you want to know. Some of you guys probably want to know if you're on cholesterol meds. What happens to you if you take cholesterol meds for the rest of your life? Like I know one thing, cholesterol meds killed my aunt. You know, it killed her, put extra stress on her liver, ended up having problems because she took it for such a long time. That's what happens. That's how these things happen. Okay. So cholesterol, it helps this 20-year-old girl that comes in with neck pain, and she starts getting adjusted. Her cholesterol levels started normalizing, and she hadn't even really changed anything else. Then she started changing lifestyle things and started losing weight and started getting better control of her health. Well, all this is because she's got better function. And we've had people that start getting adjusted, they start to lose weight. They don't change anything. But what happens is their body's able to start to function better. Okay, how about into immune, sleep, and hormones? I've already talked about a bunch of this stuff, but let's dive into it. Madison comes in. This is a fascinating story. She came from a referral from another chiropractor friend of mine. I moved in my area, and she tried for over a year CrossFit, tried macros, measuring all of her calories, restricted calorie intake, could not lose weight at all. Went to a chiropractor, and the fascinating thing is that she started losing weight, didn't change anything else, started losing weight. And it's because hormones started balancing, and they were stressed before that. And again, is somebody going to come to me and say, hey, I can't lose weight, I need to get adjusted? I'm like, well, I don't fix people that are trying to lose weight. That's not what I do. But let me find out what's going on with your nerve system. And when you talk to Madison, who's been under care now for, I believe, 4 or 5 years, she now just says, I need to maintain or upkeep and keep my body moving and going in the right direction. Janika comes in, and she's like, thank you for helping my immune system. And so Janika, when she came in years ago, lupus. You talk about immune system function issues. You know, people say, hey, can you help my sister that has lupus? Like, what can you do for lupus? What can you do for my kid that has chronic ear infection? What can you do for this person that has HIV? There's even studies on HIV and AIDS. And these are all autoimmune things. And what's fascinating about this is that During COVID, there was a big fight within the chiropractic world that some of the chiropractic professionals were saying, we can't claim to help people's immune system. I'm like, I don't claim to help people's immune system. What I do is I claim to help people's nerve system and get the right tone and right messages. And guess what? If that works better, the immune system, of course, is going to work better. The body's going to adapt. It does it on its own. I don't fix immune system issues. This family, I love this. Their whole family came in during COVID, and they came in way before that. I've known them for years. And so since 2017, they've been coming in. And so what's amazing is that the immune system's stronger in the family. They get less colds and sicknesses. One of the things that she really kind of loved is that we helped and stayed open during COVID. People are like, why are you guys staying open? People don't, who cares about neck pain and back pain? It's about people's health during this time. We got to stay home and everybody's got to get the vaccines, right? So that's what it's supposed to be. Well, no, what my job is to help people's bodies function at the highest level. I went to people's houses. I even went to a couple medical doctors' houses to adjust them when they had COVID. Why? Because they wanted their nerve system functioning at the highest level and give the body the best chance naturally from the inside to be able to heal itself. So do we fix immune system problems? No, I don't fix any stuff. Funny story about my radio show years ago. I used to have to go up and tape up on North Tryon, and the manager comes in one day and said, hey, a radio caller called in and says, you're claiming to heal everything. I'm like, let's listen to the tapes back. And we turn one of the CDs back on, and all he heard me say was over and over again, I don't heal anything. Your body and God heals everything. Your body is what does the healing. That's the key. And so the fascinating thing is that I want you guys to understand, I do not heal these problems. This is not what we do. But when you have these symptoms, they're the warning signals letting us know that your body is trying to tell you that something's not functioning right. Last section, last but definitely not least, babies and pregnant moms. And so people ask all the time, how about babies? Well, guess what? They have a nerve system too. And so back to Katie again, she was cool about it is that her birth was so smooth with her adjustments with both her pregnancies. And the pregnancy and the birth were smooth because of the way that we adjust now. She just since had another baby and we've adjusted babies. In fact, I think when she was pregnant with her first one, she was having some issues, some discomfort. I don't even think it was just back pain. She was just having discomfort. And I believe husband Luke called me on, it was either New Year's Eve or New Year's Day Eve. And I remember driving out to their place and pretty far away. And I just loved it. They're like, oh, I'm so sorry you had to come out tonight. I'm like, no, you don't understand. I love it when patients get that when they're in a state like this, instead of taking a pill or drug that will damage the body or damage the baby, I would much rather me take a small part out of my time of my day to come out and restore the function to your nerve system so your brain and spinal cords can start to work again the way that it's supposed to. And so Jessica Fox, great testimonial for the Fox family. They come here, they love it. They love coming in and find out the root cause of their problems. And they use this for their family. Why do they want to use this as their family? Because they don't want to wait until they get sick. They don't want to wait until their body breaks down before they start to have to be forced to put drugs and other things and surgeries, even though I know that they wouldn't want to. But she's big on like, hey, no, we want to make sure that our bodies are working the right pathway. Dinara is a great testimony she had 2 kids, got adjusted through her pregnancy. And the thing that she talked about was that the healing from inside the body and that using the chiropractic care during her whole pregnancy. And she goes, not only did I feel like it helped me be more comfortable during the pregnancy, but it helped with a smooth labor and birth because it was super amazing because that. Why? Did I help her at her birth? No, man. What I did is I started to allow the nerve system to start to function and started to let the body start to work better. That's what we do. That's how we do it. And that's the key behind, babies, moms, pregnancies. Again, if the baby's having a problem, if they have a functional issue, they have issues, we've got to get the bodies working back again. So Susie comes in. Her 3-year-old son had been having chronic ear infections. This is a very huge story. This happens very frequently, I should say. And ear infections, general ear pressure, discomfort since he was born. After first adjustment, he slept better and than he had in months. His weekly complaints of ear pressure and discomfort has stopped. And so now we not only get him adjusted, we get his brother adjusted as well. We want to make sure that the family stays subluxation free, nerve system working properly, functioning at the highest level. So again, back to the beginning, right? Back to the beginning. When we go back to the symptoms, when the symptoms are there, right? When these, and I think pretty much we covered all these things. And so when the symptoms are there, okay, focus, depression, focus and depression and anxiety and dementia is all a big part of the prefrontal cortex of the brain. And research shows that if there's stress here in the nerve system, it creates stress or decreased neuroplasticity of your prefrontal cortex. And so that's why it can affect things like depressions and anxiety, things like Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. Now, does it cure those things? No, the only cure for those things is your body being able to heal itself. But the body cannot heal the way it's supposed to if the nerve system's not functioning at the highest level that it's obviously supposed to along the way. So back to this, and to finish and put a bow on this whole thing. So if the question then is, how can I help my friends or family that have this question? If they're outside of Charlotte, let me know. I will get on the phone with them. They can send them this video. I will plug them into a chiropractor that's in their zip code. The best we possibly can. We'll find somebody close to them that does very, very principled work like this, like what we do, that focuses on the root cause instead of just trying to put heat or ice on you and trying to adjust you just to try to make you feel a little bit better for a period of time. We want to get to the root cause, right? So how can you help your friends and family members if they're here in Charlotte? One of the best ways that you can do, and this is what I'm promoting. This is why I did this class more than anything. On July 15th, we're doing a dinner with the doc at the office. My favorite program. It's going to be this, but different. I'm going to teach your friends, family members, if they have an issue or problem, what's causing it and how to get to the root cause of this. Now, when they come, there's no charge for dinner for you or for your guests. So we've had some people, we had a lady bring her whole soccer team one time. So we had another 10 people, or I think only 10 could make it that day. We had another 10 people there with the guests because she's just like, I just really feel like everybody needs to know this. We've had people bring their church group. We've had people bring their whole work crew. Some people, if they couldn't bring the whole work crew, they would invite us to come out during their lunchtime and come speak to their church, come speak to their work or whatever else. But what I'm focusing on right now is I want you guys to know this, is that right here, this dinner with the doc is going to be amazing. And the reason why I say that is that I'm going to take the people, the guests that you bring into our office, and I'm going to say, listen, let's be real. You're having symptoms, and I'm going to have them marked out on a sheet what symptoms, problems they're having. You're having these symptoms. You have three options. You can do nothing. It's going to get worse. You can medicate it. It's going to get worse. Or three, you can find out what the cause of it. And we're going to give them a very easy option for them to be able to come into the office with a good set of knowledge of why they should be there. And then they can actually come and get checked up in the office. So this is huge. If you're a patient and you're on our office already, then push hard. Go find some people. If you're a guest and you just happen to be coming on this and you're in Charlotte, call us, just let us know that you're interested in coming and how many there's going to be. And also tell us if there's any kind of dietary restrictions, because we have to order ahead of time, obviously, along the way. And I'm going to leave you guys with this. One of my favorite quotes from the guy that started chiropractic, who found chiropractic, I should say. I desired to know why one person was ailing and his associate eating at the same table, working in the same shop, at the same bench was not. Why? What's the difference between the two persons that caused one to have various diseases while the other partner escaped? So here's what's fascinating, is that I had a lady in last week, migraine headaches. She's like, oh, it's because I look at computers all day long. I'm like, okay. I go, are there other people in your work or on this planet that look at computers all day long? And she's like, yeah, lots of people. I'm like, do they all have migraines? And she's like, oh no. I go, so did you ever think that maybe there's something wrong with your body or your eyes or your nerve system looking at computers that's causing your migraines? So what we need to find out is, why is it happening to you? Right? The guy today, he's like, man, he goes, I was lifting with dumbbells. He goes, I know is the way I worked out 12 years ago that I injured myself. And I know right now that I injured it because of this. I said, well, okay. I go, and he's a pretty fit guy. And I said, there's people that are way more out of shape than you, that don't have the muscles like you do, that work out with the same dumbbells, that don't have problems like this. I go, there's something going on within your nerve system and your spine. You've got to get to the root cause. And so that's why, people will say to me, well, what about nutrition? I'm like, it's important. What about exercise? I'm like, it's important. Okay. What about not smoking and not drinking alcohol? I'm like, those things are important. Those things are all important, right? What about not putting chemicals or vaccines and drugs and chemicals in your body? Those things are all important. But why do I always look at the nerve system as the key component to this thing? Because if you put two people next to each other that smoke and drink and do everything wrong, I'm going to take the person that has the highest level of function of nerve system and the adaptability within the body and the nerve system. I'm going to take that person all day long to be able to not have to have issues or problems from those things. Now, obviously I would love to take the person that had 100% function and not smoking. That person's going to be in the best shape, obviously possible that they can always be in. So if you guys want to connect with us, Family Healing Chiropractic is our call letters on Instagram, Facebook. You can find us pretty much anywhere. FamilyHealingCharlotte.com if you want to check out our website, see some of these testimonials you guys saw here. If you want to email me, have questions directly, feel free to email me. I answer emails all the time. I actually, in my inbox, you might be surprised in this, in my inbox and email, I typically will only have like 10 to 12 in the inbox. So if you email me, I will get it and I will answer your questions. So if you have questions, if you saw this online, give us a call, give us a text, invite your friends to the dinner. Love you guys. If you guys saw the first half of the first one before we had to redo this, sorry about that. But if you made it this far, I'm glad you made it this far again. So have a great and blessed day, everyone. Love you.